Alright guys, welcome back. So today we'll be taking a look at the G.I. Joe classified series FootLoose, and this would be the second classified figure I've acquired. It does look pretty cool in my opinion. I do like the camo style pattern. I mean, it does tend to look like generic army guy, but that's pretty cool in my opinion. So without further ado, let's crack this package open and see what we get inside. Alright, so let's take a closer look at FootLoose. You can see, get a little closer there. Really nice face sculpt. Once again, nice print and tech on the face there. Looks pretty clean. I did actually watch an episode of the old cartoon as well, just to see what he was all about. And one of them in particular was Hearts and Cannons, and where he and Dusty had to abandon the aircraft because there was too much weight. So they, as well as one of their tanks, had to be discharged, and they went down to sort of protect it so it wouldn't fall into enemy hands and stuff. And it was a really cool episode. And from there, you could see his personality is a very, very hippie sort of personality. Peace and love and all that good stuff. Strange for a person like that to be in the military, but not judging. But nonetheless, really nice face sculpt. Getting down to the tactical gear you see here. He does have a sheath for a knife. Does have a little grenade sculpted in there. Love all the little buckles and belts and everything. I'm not sure if this thing could come off. Doesn't seem like it has any sort of clip. Yeah, on this left shoulder you can see that hibiscus sort of logo. Moving on down the left arm, you can see he has a watch there, and it is removable. There's some little pockets and stuff sculpted in as well. I like the amount of detail that they put into these suits. It's really nice. The camo pattern does look really good. Moving on to the right shoulder, you can see that US flag printed there, but it seems like they printed it the wrong direction. Isn't the stars and stuff supposed to be on the left corner? Moving on down to the right arm, you can see he does have like a paracord bracelet, which is also removable on this side. Moving on to the back, you can see a holster for the pistol, as well as some medipacks and an extra magazine, which is not removable, unfortunately. This belt is actually a floating piece. You can see those pockets sculpted on the back there, as well as more pockets sculpted in on the front there. There is a nice texture in on the pants there, but kind of confused as to why they didn't do the texture on the top as well. Moving on down to the knees, you can see the texture changed, almost like a leather-like patch on the knees, and then it goes back to the cloth texture. You can see getting down to the boots there, very nice, painted really well. There are some threads sculpted on the outside of the feet and some peg holes there, and the laces on top. Really well done. So all in all, I think FootLoose is definitely a nice one to get. He does have that generic military guy aesthetic with the camo and stuff, but once he's geared up and stuff, he does look even cooler. And if you're into military stuff, well then, this is right up your alley. Getting right into the articulation on FootLoose. His head looks up. Not the greatest amount, about that far. Looks down a lot better. He does tilt side to side, so you can get those diagonal ups and diagonal downs and stuff. The shoulders go up about this far. They rotate around. There is a butterfly joint. Doesn't have the greatest forward range, but if you actually pinch the tactical vest in a little bit, you can actually get him a little bit more. So this is as far forward as he'll go, and as far back as he'll go. The bicep does swivel. There's double jointed elbows, very good range. There is a horizontal hinge and swivel on the left arm. There's a vertical and swivel on the right arm. The torso has the typical ab crunch. He does also seem to have a little bit of crunch forward on the waist, which is nice, and also a swivel, as well as very, very slight tilt. Together, you can get him to crunch forward about that far, which is not too bad, and about that far back. He does have the drop down hips, which can allow him to kick forward about this high. Can kick back about this far. Can do practically a full split. He does have a thigh swivel. Very, very stiff double jointed knees. He does have my favorite, well, one of my favorite pieces of articulation, which is a boot swivel at the top of the, where the boot meets the pants there. So that's pretty nice. And because of the space provided there, he can kick forward quite a bit and back quite a bit as well as the usual ankle rocker. So articulation on him, really, really good. And it's sort of become the standard now for all articulation schemes across the board. So anything less would just not be ideal. Getting right into FootLoose's accessories. He does come with a nice knife. It is quite thick, but due to the size, it's alright. And it's painted with a nice shiny paint as well. So it looks pretty cool. He can hold the knife, no problem. And he can do that in either hand. He could also hold the knife in a reverse position. He can do that on the other hand as well, though on the left side it's a little bit more tighter. And when he isn't using the knife, you have that holster right at the top there. You just slide it in. It doesn't seem to matter which direction you put it, because the hole is rectangular. So it can go in either way. He does come with a cool helmet, which has like a netting on top, and it seems to have like leaves and stuff attached to it. Camouflage. You could see the headset on the side there with the mouthpiece coming around and the chin strap. This piece, please just be very careful. I tried thinking that this was able to be moved, but this is actually just a stationary piece. It cannot flip down over the eyes, but this is meant to be like a night vision or something. To put the helmet on, you simply just smush it down onto him and then get it over his nose. Then once you have it here, you could put one strap over the chin and one strap above. Moving on to his next accessory, which is his backpack. It's pretty nicely detailed. You could see a canteen and stuff on it, and some pouches as well down here. It would have been nice if this backpack had the utility of old G.I. Joe figures, where you could clip on the weapons and stuff onto this one, but this is just a solid chunk, which it does add to the look, but would have been nice to be more functional. And with the typical cylindrical peg system, it pegs right into his back. Back does look really good on his back, but then you get to the side and you see that the peg is all the way in, but it's not touching his back. So the peg is a bit too long. But although that might have been a flaw on their part, I found some use for that, which I'll show you all coming up. He does come with a nicely detailed pistol. It's just black plastic, but it does actually have like a hole for blast effects, if you have any. You can see the pattern sculpted in on the handle and everything. It's pretty cool. And he does hold that pistol really well. And he does hold that pistol well in either hand. And then when you're not holding it, you could have the pistol tucked away in the holster, and that fits really snug and neat. Next up, he does come with his bazooka, and it does have that nice shark mouth decal there. You could see it's not really painted or anything, but it does have nice sculpted details on top there. Maybe a little dry brushing or weathering might make it look a little better. The strap, I wish the strap was made out of like a fabric or something. It's just rigid plastic, and it kind of gets in the way when he's holding it. And to go with the bazooka, they also have this missile, which is just painted plastic. Seems to be painted, just molded in green and painted in black on the end there. On the cover of the box shows this being able to stick inside here without moving. But on mine, oh, well, it just seems to have stayed on. I spoke too soon. Seems to be held in there with friction, but not too tightly. It would have been really nice to have a blast effect coming out of the bazooka for the rocket, but unfortunately we didn't get one. And this is the best I could do to get him to hold the bazooka in a natural position. And here's where some alternate hands would have come in handy, like open palm hands and stuff like that. But for the most part, you could get it to work. So I mentioned before about the long peg on the pack, and with the bazooka, you can just unplug the pack, put the bazooka there, and then peg the backpack in. And I don't know if that was the intended way or not, but it actually stays quite well on the back, and it doesn't look quite as bad with the bazooka strapped in there. So maybe another unintentional storage, who knows. Lastly, it does come with this really nice rifle. It's really well done, sculpted, and surprisingly enough, this magazine could actually come out, which is pretty cool. Who'd have thought? The only problems with this gun is from here to here, very nice. This nozzle part, very, very flimsy. And this stock part, also very flimsy. So when you put it in his hand and you put it up against his shoulder, this part tends to bend either way, and it kind of looks bad. But it does have a port for a blast effect if you do have that. And with that removable clip, you can get some nice reloading poses, and you can get some nice shooting poses as well. Though, as I mentioned, the stock just keeps bending the closer you try to bring it to his face. Some cool accessories for FootLoose, and I do like the fact that most of them could be stored away in some sort of manner. For height, he does stand about 6.5 inches to the top of the helmet, so maybe a little bit shorter without it. For size comparisons, here's how he stands next to McFarlane Batman. So he stands next to Jada Toys Mega Man. So he stands next to Jada Toys Ken. So he stands next to an SHF Daima Goku. So he stands next to Black Series Mando. So he stands next to Marvel Legends Ant-Man. And then here's how he stands next to another G.I. Joe Classified Series figure, Blowtorch. So in closing, definitely think this figure is a really nice one. All the paint apps, the sculpting, everything on it, the face, printing, everything is really well done. My two complaints with this figure, one would be the flimsy rifle that came with him. They really need to start making those weapons out of something more rigid. Even the flamethrower and blowtorch was very similar in the sense that that stock just keeps bending all over when you try to pose it, and it gets very annoying. And secondly, he needs to have more interchangeable hands, particularly ones that he can use to support the weapon instead of you having to shove the weapon through those trigger hands, which widens them and makes it loose to hold weapons with. So you should have hands dedicated specifically to holding and supporting the weapons. and even is on the box throwing up a peace sign, so why not try to include something like that in with the figure. That said, I think the figure is really nice, and I will definitely put a link in the description to Amazon if the figure is available there, so you can pick one up if you are interested. Nonetheless, hope you all enjoyed this review. Hope this helps anybody who's on the fence about getting this figure. Until next time, y'all take care.